All right, let's talk about generative AI. It's everywhere, right? In every boardroom, every investment strategy. But here's the thing. In this mad dash to adopt it, are companies actually losing their way? Today, we're going to cut through all that hype and find a clear path to real value. Let's get into it. You see, a lot of leaders right now are stuck in what I like to call the GenAI fog. And it's exactly what it sounds like. This state of confusion where the goal isn't solving a problem, it's just deploying the newest, shiniest tool. It's like the deployment is the finish line. We're getting so caught up in the how that we're completely forgetting the why. It's a classic case of the cart leading the horse, for sure. And getting lost in this fog, well, it's not just confusing, it's expensive. This so-called progress is coming at a really high cost, creating a couple of huge, tangled-up problems that are hitting businesses hard. So, on the one side, you've got the obvious thing, the economic strain. I mean, we're talking about huge investments here. Money's just flying out the door on these expensive tools, but with no clear strategy, there's no ROI. It's just a drain. But then there's the other side of the coin, the human cost. And this is where it gets really tricky. We're telling our people, especially younger folks, hey, AI might take your job. But then in the next breath, we're saying, oh, but you can't use it for your important creative work. It's a totally confusing and frankly unfair message. And this quote, wow, it just hits the nail on the head. Think about how completely contradictory this is. We're asking our professionals to be original and creative, but we're telling them to do it with one hand tied behind their back, without AI. And at the exact same time, we're demanding they use that very same tool to be hyper-efficient with all the boring stuff. I mean, how can anyone win in a situation like that? It's a direct path to stress and burnout. So what's the end result of all this fog and confusion? Well, this chart paints a pretty clear and pretty bleak picture. The business ROI, it's in the basement. Meanwhile, employee burnout, it's through the roof. You're spending a ton of money to get very little back while simultaneously burning out your best people. It's a recipe for disaster on every single level. Okay, so that's the problem. It's a mess. But how do we find our way out? The good news is there is a path forward. It just requires a really big shift in how we're thinking about this. We have to stop obsessing over the technology itself and get back to what really matters, solid foundational strategy. And the way out, it's almost deceptively simple. You might be expecting some complex new framework, but it's not that. It's not about a newer, better AI. It's about going back to basics, back to the fundamentals of how you run a great business. So what do I mean by basics? I'm not talking about marketing 101. In this context, the basics, the two absolute pillars you need to build on, are strategy and change management. Look, it's not enough to just have a great strategy on paper. You have to actively manage the change and bring your people along for the ride. You're not just drawing a map, you're building the bridge so everyone can get to the other side together. All right, with that in mind, let's get practical. Here's a 6-step playbook, a concrete guide for any leader who wants to finally cut through that GenAI fog and start building some real, lasting value. Okay, let's dig into the first 3 actions. These are the absolute foundation. Number 1, you have to see GenAI for what it is, a tool. It's a means to an end. It is not the end itself. The tech supports the strategy, not the other way around. Number 2, shift your focus from deployment to value. Who cares if it's live? What does success actually look like? Define that first. And number 3, and this is so important, plan for your people. Just throwing new tech at them without a roadmap for change, that's not innovation. That's just setting them and the project up for failure. Okay, on to the next 3. Step 4 is all about being agile. You've got to monitor what's happening and be ready to pivot. Set up ways to get feedback so you can actually course correct as you go. Step 5, inclusion is everything. This can't just be a top-down thing from the C-suite. You need to involve the entire workforce. Real buy-in happens from the ground up. And last but definitely not least, step 6, radical transparency. Communicate, communicate, communicate. The absolute best way to clear that fog of uncertainty for everyone is to be incredibly open and honest, constantly. So when you follow this playbook, what happens? You start moving toward the ultimate goal. And it's not just about using AI better. It's about creating this incredible, powerful alignment across your entire organization. So how do we get to that alignment? Well, it starts with the most fundamental piece of the puzzle, the business. Before you even whisper the letters AI, you have to know what your core business goals are. What are you actually trying to achieve? Then you bring in the most important element of any business, Your people. What are their skills? Are they ready for this change? You need their buy-in, their engagement. Without your people on board, the best tech in the world is useless. Next, you need the connective tissue, and that is your strategy. The strategy is what links your business goals to your people's actions. It's the playbook that ensures everyone is pulling in the same direction. And then, and only then, once the business goals, the people, and the strategy are all locked in, that's when you bring in the technology. See how it's the last piece? It becomes the great enabler, the tool that supercharges your people to execute the strategy and hit those business goals. And when those four things, business, people, strategy, and technology, when they all click into place and align perfectly, that's the magic moment. That's when you finally unlock the highest possible ROI. That is how you get real game-changing value. So I want to leave you with a question to take back to your own teams. Take a hard look at what you're doing. Is your GenAI strategy actually clearing the fog, acting like a beacon that lights the way forward? Or is it just making things worse, creating more fog than it clears?